a new runway or something.
Joe?
What?
Rolling.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1442, December 10th, 2024. The high today, the record high on this day was 54 degrees. That was in 1979. And just 2 years previously, it was 18 below on the morning of 1877.
Hail the flashlight,
King. Stop. 1977.
His office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake. It's Garage Logic.
She's a train, Joe.
Neighbors
Can't
manning
stop her.
Technology Corner. Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop. John Haidt in the newsroom. And of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Hi, how are you? We live in strange times.
Why is that, Joe?
Well, you got a guy in New York, a Marine veteran named Daniel Penny. And back in, late 2023, he got on a subway car and a crackpot got on and said, I don't care if I die, I'm going to get you. And people felt threatened. And Daniel Penny intervened, put the guy on the floor, put him in a chokehold, held him till the cops arrived. And then Daniel Penny was prosecuted as a criminal, a Marine veteran. He didn't seek this confrontation. He just happened to get on a subway car, and this crackpot got on the same car. A crackpot who, it turns out, had 42 previous engagements with the police.
Mostly peaceful.
Was homeless, mentally disturbed, which doesn't surprise me reading about his upbringing. His mother was killed by an abusive boyfriend. The father, who never had a role in raising the Jordan Neely, the guy who died, he has stepped forward only now. He's obviously looking for a payday from the racial industry, and I hope he does not get one. He's a hypocrite, disingenuous fool who never had anything to do with raising this child. But the prosecutors in New York, very akin to Mary Moriality here with Londergren, they really wanted this guy. Mm-hmm. He was a white racist because the fellow he put a chokehold on happened to be a black guy. And they really wanted him, and they portrayed him in the poorest possible light. And they managed to find video of Jordan Neely doing Michael Jackson impersonations on the subway platform over time, as though he was a wonderful, wonderful human being that had his life snubbed out by an evil racist who was practicing vigilantism, which wasn't the case at all. Thank God for juries. The guy was acquitted. And I think what we're seeing, and maybe this is the end of it, maybe this acquittal is a victory for the side of truth and morality.
Really?
It could be. If it isn't, then we'll just see more of this. And what more of this means is the corrupted ideology of the failed academy as it is seeped through law enforcement, for example, as it is seeped into the judicial branch with judges and corrupt prosecutors. And by corrupt, I mean ideologically corrupt. That the white patriarchy must be dismantled. It must be eliminated. The country was flawed. They were old white guys, and they created a system that has resulted in unfairness for marginalized people. And it's come to the point where it doesn't make any difference how a so-called marginalized person behaves. That behavior is the direct result of oppression, and white people are oppressors. So it doesn't make any difference that this fellow was threatening to kill people on the subway train. There were black people on the subway train who thanked Daniel Perry.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Imagine if Daniel Penny hadn't been on that train.
Daniel Penny, I said Perry. Right. Penny.
But imagine had he not been on that train, what would have happened?
Oh, we don't know. We don't know. Maybe someone else would have stepped forward, but it seems likely because as a subset of this soliloquy we've reached a point where people are afraid to get involved.
Right.
Or they don't have the physical means to get involved. Imagine if that was you on a green line. You have the physical means to get involved. You're big, you're young, you're strong.
I wouldn't say young.
A guy, yeah, you are, relatively speaking. A guy gets on the green line, a black guy gets on the green line, and he is shouting and he's creating complete chaos and madness, and he is saying, I don't care if anyone on this train dies. And you intervene, and you take him down, and you put him in a hold, and by the time the cops get there, he's weakened to the point where then he ultimately dies. You think you aren't going to be prosecuted?
Oh, no, Mary's putting me in prison.
Mary's going to go after you because what's happened? What has happened is that the rule of law has taken the brunt of this corrupted ideology. And if the rule of law is corrupted this much, then there can be no rule of law. If Mysterians get their way and people of various skin shades can do whatever they want because they deserve to, through a fundamental flaw in the creation of the country, then there is no law. And without law, all you have is chaos. Maybe chaos is what the Mysterians want. But will this case can have a number of impacts on American society. One unfortunate being that a lot of mothers whose sons just came back from National Guard service or military service, they're going to say, hey, don't go, if you see something on the subway, don't intervene.
I think many people probably have the same mindset I do. You have to wait unless your wife and children are being threatened, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I think I don't care if anybody on this car dies. I think that's a threat. And so did the jury.
Yes.
All right.
Joe, that mindset is prevalent now across all sorts of different avenues. Right. That's employers to their employees when theft is happening. That's corporations talking to their various outlets and stores. That's the way we live now. Don't get involved. Let it happen.
Well, then what's going to suffer is that there will be no law then. That law is meaningless.
Right.
But the other outcome, one being don't get involved, which is, you're right, it's already prevalent. The other outcome could be a more hopeful one. That, look, stop with your BS, you people. The country's not flawed. We are a country of laws, not men. We are a country of laws. Those laws must be adhered to, and we come from a long, long history in Western civilization of people stepping in to help when they see a wrong. We come from a long, long black, white, red, yellow people, men, women. We come from a long tradition of that's wrong, you must be stopped.
Yep.
Since the beginning of this country.
Since the beginning of time, maybe.
Yeah.
And so this could be helpful in that regard. This could go to remind corrupt prosecutors who are agents of the mystery that you're not going to get away with this anymore. You're not going to arrest a perfectly innocent white guy who happened to intervene and then try to paint him as a criminal. Try to paint his mentality as foul, try to paint him as a vengeful human being. No, he was a citizen who got on a subway train where all hell was about to break loose, and he did something about it. I want him on my subway car.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I want him on the light rail car. So this could go a long way in helping to realize that stepping in and righting wrongs is not racist. Racism had nothing to do with this. Nothing. I have a feeling Daniel Perry would have stepped in if the guy had been a white guy.
That was my next question.
Why do I keep saying Perry? His name is Daniel
the guitarist.
Penny. No, I'm not.
Let's go down that road. If he was a white guy, would any of the court case happen at all?
No.
That's just your opinion, but I agree with that opinion.
Well, that's
just
like
your
your
opinion,
opinion,
Man.
Yeah. Well, let's flip this out to a completely different topic. How will Luigi Mangione be treated by the justice system? Because anti-capitalism is also is about as forceful almost to the Mysterians as racism.
Isn't it interesting how politics have crept into this case? Mm-hmm. Where first this shooter was, I started seeing it a few days afterwards, and maybe it happened right away, where he was kind of a hero of the anti-capitalist crowds.
Still is.
But now we're seeing his background and his upbringing.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting. How will his family's wealth, will his family's wealth be successful in mitigating how much time this guy serves in prison? Will this guy's family's wealth be excused by the anti-capitalists in this case because this guy acted on behalf of them as a Robin Hood, as a hero? Will his family's wealth, in this case by the Mysterian hypocrites, be overlooked? Because this is panning out to become calamitous, a riotous trial. He's got millions and millions of people who are approving of what this guy did.
Right.
Cold-blooded murder, and they're approving of it. That's why I started the show by saying we live in interesting times, if not completely upside-down times.
But, Joe, everything that happens outside of the courtroom with the judge, the lawyers, and I'm assuming 12 jurors, none of that matters. All the noise that's going to happen around this case outside of the courtroom, none of that matters. It's just going to be a lot of noise.
No, I understand, but it's something there that the lawyer teams and the jury selection are going to bring with them in their thinking. Once the trial starts, they may not be exposed to it, but they will have had 6 months of hearing this or a year of hearing this.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, unfortunately, fascinating is a word. It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out.
Are you going to bring up the protests at all?
Which set of protests? Let's keep these two juggled in the air at the same time. Daniel Penny
there you go.
Protests were that he's a white racist and
Right.
I want my money.
But the marching cry on the streets is we're demanding justice for
Are we with Penny now,
Jordan,
or are we with
for Jordan Neely? And
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
yeah, he got justice. He was wrong, and he got the justice he deserved.
we went through the legal process,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. That's what happened.
No, but these
Are these the same people that were pro-Palestine yesterday, and now they're just focusing on this today?
Sure.
Oh, okay. So when you go clock in as a protester, that's what you're...
Have you guys happened to, just for the fun of it, read the different media accounts? You know, you Google this case and you see all these different versions. Depending on which website and which organization you go to, Penny's either a hero or he's the devil himself.
Yeah, there's no middle ground.
It's just amazing and really disappointing.
He's just a human being, an American citizen who stepped in when stepping in was needed.
Can I ask you something? You brought up the father, and the roommate and I, we managed to work ourselves into a tizzy last night about the father and the family claiming, you know, that he was such a wonderful kid. Mm-hmm. Is it the American dream of people like the father to somehow strike it rich
Well, that's
from what happened to his dead kid?
I guess you'd have to say that's a new twist and an obscene one on the American dream.
Well, think about all the different cases where we've seen this, where the family just isn't even in touch with the alleged victim until it's time for a settlement.
None of the people defending Neely seem to have played much of a role in trying to help him.
Yeah, but you read the quotes from the father and the other estranged relatives.
It was, I miss my son. Well, have you been
no,
missing
you-
him for
you're-
about 30 years?
When's the last time you saw him?
His name is Andre Zachary.
Andre?
Andre Zachary, and he's filed a lawsuit against Penny that demands judgment awarding damages in a sum which exceeds the jurisdictional limits of all lower courts, which would otherwise have jurisdiction. Where was Zachary all these years?
So it's his American dream.
It's a horrible way to look at it, but this is his payday.
Yeah, jackpot.
This is his,
I only-
he's going to win the lottery.
I only know one other person who can't wait for his son to strike it rich so he can retire. But this guy actually had
My hands up.
Yeah, he talks to his son every day, and there's a lot of love there.
How you doing today, buddy?
We're up. We're up.
Are you any closer to retirement?
But I know that there's obviously the civil part of this case, but because he's been acquitted, what leg does this guy have to stand on from a financial aspect?
Well, I suppose in a civil hearing you could come up. They'll find a lawyer to come up with a.
Sure. Even remember OJ?
Yeah.
No,
He
that's
was
true.
he was
Yeah.
acquitted.
Yeah.
He ended up paying a lot in the civil trial.
So do you think this will stop the do-gooders of the future?
Well,
The
that's
peop-
again. That's a possible outcome of this. I tend to think. I tend to think not. I want it to.
You hope.
I want it to be that outcome, because this BS has to stop.
It does, yes.
Or this country has no law. And without a law, without laws, we fall apart.
But this is almost a ray of hope, is it not?
In that sense that this could awaken people to the idea that this country will not abandon law.
Just like the Londrigan case, as you mentioned,
Right.
was a ray of hope.
Well, but it shouldn't have ever gotten to where it did.
True.
This should never have gotten to where it
But
did.
will this then prevent the next Daniel Penny, not Perry, case from even going to trial?
That's the hope.
Yeah.
And if Neely hadn't died, we wouldn't be having this conversation,
Of
right?
course
Nothing,
not.
nothing would have happened.
Never would have heard of either of them.
So that's the ticket in the future. Sacrifice your fist, your broken fingers, knock the guy out, walk away.
Yes.
But we can sit here and speculate. But
Given the political climate, well, New York is very similar to Minneapolis with these ideologically corrupted DAs. Alvin Bragg in New York, Mary Moriality here, Hennepin County attorney. I really think if Reavers injured fatally,
Why do I keep dragged into this?
because you had the incident on the train.
All right, let's not. Yeah, you're right.
I do think Mary Moriality would just she would
I would have no chance.
you'd be in jail,
Yeah, I'd have no chance.
and that's wrong.
And trust me, that you think about that kind of thing. What would I do? And again, there's two sets of rules: if you're by yourself or if you're with your family.
What do you do if you're by yourself and you see that a woman is about to be choked by this?
I intervene.
Yeah,
You
Well,
have to.
you
I
have
wouldn't be able. I would not be able to live with myself.
it's just we've got to get back to a point where your actions would be affirmed, not considered negative.
Right.
Your actions would have to be affirmed, which means we have clung to the law, which means we still have a functioning society. We
hope.
do not have a functioning society if this kind of BS continues, where the good guys are turned into criminals. You can't have a society with that way.
I think it was the Guardian that was comparing him to Bernie Getz. I don't think there's a comparison there at all.
I saw that in 3 different stories and thought, I don't get the comparison whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Because wasn't Bernie, he was going out and offering himself up, right, in order to take.
And he wanted to make sure he was armed, and he sort of went in with the attitude that I hope somebody messes with me. And
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
He was eager.
eager, there you go, good word.
But,
But
circumstances
he-
had led him to that.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
I hope your garage door is ready for winter. It started snowing when I came in today.
I saw some
Really?
flakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say snowing handsomely. It wasn't yet sticking on the ground, but I hope your garage door is ready. You don't want that baby to fail when you have to go out there in a snowstorm and it's 15 below. Get a hold of Precision Door MN. They've become the chosen garage door guy of GLers. Precision Door serves western Wisconsin, the entire metro. They take care of any problem you have with your garage door. Plus, if you need a new garage door, you can have a free garage door consultation with one of Precision's designers. They have new garage doors in a range that fits every budget, and those on-site consultations, of course, are free. You do not have to bring your garage to them.
Well, that's
Thank
key.
God,
You
because
don't have
you
to.
got to get the big wide,
You got to get them over.
oversized.
and
Yeah, do it at
They'll
night.
come to you, and then you can figure all that out. Put this number in your contacts. Precision Door, 612-263-6985. Or if you want to go online and schedule a free on-site new door estimate or otherwise book an appointment for maintenance, go to Precision Door MN, one word, precisiondoormn.com. go.
Look where you are now, huh?
Here we go.
The big time.
Right.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
You know, there's an elephant in the room on this healthcare discussion. I think it has to be stated. Do people in America take care of themselves well enough?
No.
I mean, there's a lot of health problems that could be avoided. I know that has nothing to do with insurance scams, but holy mackerel.
No, this country has a massive obesity problem.
There's a lot of, you look at pictures. The great example is that Larry Millett book,
Strange Days, Dangerous
Strange
Nights.
Days, Dangerous Nights.
Yeah.
It's a coffee table book of the speed graphic camera era of news gathering. And he went through all the files of the Pioneer
Yep.
Press. And you look at photos of Americans in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and you cannot find an overweight person. Now, much of that might have been due to smoking.
Well, a lot of them were ties,
Yeah.
sport coats, derby hats.
But ties and sports coats have nothing to do with what you weigh.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying they were nicely dressed and they were all
Hell,
skinny.
people used to go to North Stars games with a suit on.
Right.
But Joe, the doctors would be delivering a baby with a Kent hanging out of
I
their
know.
mouth.
I know.
Yeah, right.
I've told you before, my mom's way of getting the doctor, she'd be taking a kid to the doctor, and then she'd be in the room with the door closed. You know, the doctor will be in with you in a moment, and a half hour goes by.
Yeah.
She said, I'll get him in here, and she'd light a cigarette. And sure enough, that would get the
Right
doctor
around
in
the
there. You know. But I don't have anything more to say about that because I have no business talking about it. But that's an elephant in the room. 350 million people, too many people have health problems that could be avoided would be, I think, a reasonable
Well,
statement.
your doctor says you need to have this procedure or you're going to die in 6 months, and your insurance company says denied.
I agree. I said I'm trying to make this separate
That's
from the insurance
just-
part.
We're so upside down with the health care. We need to start over.
Where is it? I can't get this out of my mind. There's a group in the country called Catholics for Choice, meaning life choice.
Okay.
I looked them up. It does exist. And they had a post on social media over the weekend. I looked this up. I can read you what the post was. In other words, these are Catholics who are pro-abortion.
Okay.
All right.
That's such a weird phrase, but okay.
Well, okay, that's probably an unfair. Well, they're
No,
pro-abortion.
I'm just saying, fact-wise, it is.
And they tweeted out over the weekend. Actually, it was on December 1st. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This holiday season, remember that Mary had a choice, and you should too.
Oh, jeez.
Are you kidding me?
Didn't I have a line for that yesterday, and you said I couldn't use it?
Yeah, you can't.
Wisely,
You can't
wisely.
I still can't use that line?
Nope.
wisely.
Okay. All right.
Mary had a choice, and you should too. Did you see where Fry vetoed another wild offshoot of the useless Minneapolis City Council? Fry vetoed, let's see, a resolution for support calling for dropping charges against protesters of Palestinian rights who vandalized Morrill Hall at the U of M was vetoed by Mayor Jacob Fry. So the city council, again, Mysterians, in the dismantling of patriarchy, I think we've got it. I mean, I think that's what it is. They would have looked at the protesters as acting on behalf of the oppressed, and therefore the vandalism and damages they wrought should not be considered a criminal charge.
For they know not what they do
And
or
the
what.
city council created an ordinance saying just that, and Fry, who you're going to regret when he's gone,
Yeah, right.
compared to whoever follows him, especially if it's that Omar Fateh. A pebble in my shoe would be better than him. Fry is trying to hang on here to some semblance of sanity and saying, no, I'm vetoing that. Now, do they have the votes to override it? I didn't get that far.
No, they do not. In fact, I'm going to give you a little different take on this, Joe.
I wish you would.
When I read this story, I was encouraged because the original council vote was 7-6.
Oh.
And I thought, well, if there's 6 members against this, I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah,
with
do you have
the city council?
Do you have the list of the ones again?
I
I'm
don't.
looking. I'm
they
looking.
do. They do need 9 to override the vote. So
Yeah, they won't get it then.
May not happen. It appears.
Yeah.
If I was a resident of Minneapolis, I would ask my council members, what does this have to do with running Minneapolis?
We said it yesterday from Ted in Maiden Rock, who had the brilliant email. What we've elected are people with single interest issues, and they're not concerned about the citizens of Minneapolis who they represent. They're concerned about their own social virtue. At a December 5 meeting, the Minneapolis City Council approved a resolution expressing solidarity with nonviolent campus activism opposing war and supporting Palestinian human rights, and as John said, by a vote of 7-6. Here's the problem with your resolution. It wasn't nonviolent campus activism. It was the willful destruction of property. Mm-hmm. That's a crime. And the resolution also urged the university and the Hennepin County Attorney's Office to drop charges against the protesters who were arrested and charged on October 21st. The stated goal of urging Minnesota to the University of Minnesota to divest from the state of Israel and Israeli academic institutions as part of the global movement of nonviolent economic strategies to protect Palestinian human rights, the resolution said. And if you think I'm off base with finding at the hot burning center of the mystery the opposition to patriarchy and just whiteism, this would never have come up if the people in the Middle East were all white fighting each other. This would never have come up. But Jewish people now are viewed as oppressors because they're viewed as slightly whiter than the Gazans.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have soft skin.
So it's all hypocritical and it's all disingenuous. It all stems, and this is right at the failed academy, it all stems from what these kids are being proselytized about. And what do you pay for that at Pepperdine?
85.
80, you only pay $85 for
100?
that proselytizing at Pepperdine. But what you're paying for there is the view.
Yeah.
You're paying for a nice view. So good for Fry. The rule of law here prevails. You have to charge these people. They vandalized. They destroyed property. They destroyed property that exceeded $67,000. There's no First Amendment right to property damage and breaking windows and barricading doors and endangering public safety. When people engage in these actions, they're breaking the law and there are consequences. Those are Fry's words. He went on to claim that the court has taken a position. The council has taken a position simply because it aligns with the cause they support rather than the law. This is what's happening to the country. Daniel Penny was prosecuted because his prosecution aligned with the ideology of the mystery. It didn't align with the basic principles of law. This is what's happening to the country. This would be a good time to play your little thing there, Reeves.
And that is why Trump got elected.
Did you see how they voted? Supported by Wansley, Chavez, Chowdhury, Ellison, and Osman, as well as Elliott Payne and Shugade. Mm-hmm. Opposed by Mike Rainville, Latricia, Katie Cashman, Emily Koski, and Linnea Palmisano.
That falls along Mysterian lines.
Jenkins, Andrea was not there.
Okay. That falls along Mysterian lines. Koski
It's-
seems to reject the mystery. I know Latricia, my gal Latricia, rejects the mystery.
It's Democrats versus socialist Democrats.
That's right, exactly.
It's
No,
so
that's
bizarre.
exactly right.
It's so bizarre to watch play out. It's just wow.
And the city of Minneapolis is not at all getting healthier as a result of who you've elected. You have elected a very big problem.
Kenny, was Jenkins not there, or did she just not want to vote?
She was absent.
Oh,
We're trying to get Andrea on, aren't we?
Sure, I'd love to talk to you.
We should either talk to her or Latricia.
Hey,
That's Jimmy. That's the mayor of St. Paul sending
what
you
the
a
hell
message.
is this?
Well, your phone is talking to you.
Well, I didn't mean for it to. I don't know why I'm getting texts.
Hello?
Jimmy knows not to send it while we're recording.
Where's the party?
I don't know what that is.
Where's the party?
There isn't one. Don't give me this where's the party stuff. I don't know where it is.
You know, you can't find it.
I mean,
I know. I love that.
you bastard! You've got us all hooked
Thank
saying
you.
"I mean,"
Thank
and
you.
now,
I
now
I
you've-
don't say it.
You've
I
told
told
me
you
to
mean,
stop.
why
I
not?
know.
No, you gotta
No,
stop.
I can't stop. You can't stop the music.
I know.
The
You know?
sweet music.
How about? Do you ever say right?
No, it's I know, right?
Right?
you know what did surface? Speaking of YouTube,
I'm not done with this Minneapolis segment.
the bleep Euphorian
I
say
think we
on
are,
Twitter.
Yeah.
Remember, Joe, the
Yeah.
video you recorded years and years ago?
Yeah.
Boy, that's a good one. You don't
What?
remember that?
Yeah.
Well, but because it's basically things like that. I mean, talk about that game.
Do you have that? We should play that.
All right. Let me
I don't know where it is. While you're finding it, can I read
Right,
this?
like we consulted you to put it away
Joe-
in the library. And,
Joe
we're
doesn't
going to
know
put it
where
in
it
the
is.
Joe, where did we put that?
F section.
Are you suggesting, Rook, that I have no idea how those are filed?
I'm not even suggesting that. I'm guaranteeing that. I wouldn't know what file to look at.
I keep getting the emails from all of Minneapolis, and I appreciate
How'd you get somebody
getting
sign
them.
you up, huh?
I appreciate getting them. And the latest says, this is from Karen Birkland, all of Minneapolis. Friends, you have sent thousands of emails, 4,228 at last count, and made hundreds of calls to the city council voicing concern about the potential for a massive property tax increase. And it appears they are listening. The city council put forward a revised budget plan last week that reduced the levy increase from 8.3% to 6.9%. While the mayor put forward a plan that reduced it to 6.4. Unfortunately, the city council majority, those would be the Mysterians we just mentioned, is still playing games with the budget by denying cost of living adjustments to some city staff while leaving the same adjusted increases to their own paychecks, ignoring the mayor's reasonable amendments, and behaving incredibly unprofessionally by locking city council member Linnea Palmisano out of the budget talks, despite Palmisano's experience as the former budget chair.
Ooh.
And there's still much work to do as the budget committee returns to the budget tonight. And this is dated today. Mayor Fry outlined the work needed in a letter to the city council, saying in part earlier this evening, this would be last Friday evening, you received a response from my administration to the 73 proposed budget amendments. I have serious, and I guarantee you, well, I shouldn't say it that way. What I wonder is how many of the 73 budget amendments have anything to do with the health and welfare of the city in general. I have serious concerns. If all these amendments pass, it would represent a departure from good government and fiscal responsibility that Minneapolis residents want and deserve, and to which I would add, and are not getting. It would amount to cutting needs while adding wants. I appreciate the desire to reduce the property tax impacts of this budget on renters and homeowners in Minneapolis. What is incongruent to me is the plethora of amendments that divert funds from citywide programs to pet projects in individual wards, send millions to nonprofit organizations, and introduce unvetted short-term programs. There's your problem in a nutshell, people. Please join us again today in urging the City Council to get serious about the city's budget. Email the City Council today and tell them to drop the politically targeted wage freezes and urge them to say no to pet projects, diversion of city funds to unaccountable nonprofits, and cuts to core services. Thank you, Chair Karen Birkeland, Chair, all of Minneapolis. Will you get her on? I've asked before, but I don't think she wants to come on for some reason. We're on your side, Karen.
What's her last name?
Birkeland, Birkeland, Birkeland. I think she'd be a great guest. Now, speaking of that, St. Paul's going through the same thing with their budget deal. Do you realize among the property taxpayers who weighed in last week at the city council chambers were NGOs, non-governmental organizations, representative of them, urging the council to fully fund their climate change programs. Go bleep yourself.
We ain't got the money. We ain't got
Get
the
the
money.
hell out of here.
Right.
You fund it. And watch, the city council, the least diverse city council in America is in St. Paul, and they'll probably support to fund climate change programs.
I give you S. Euphorian say.
You know how to change a flat tire? No, I love the alliteration. Chloe, Kim, and Courtney. Do you know what a Phillips head screwdriver is? What an adorable dog. I gotta get some stuff from Twitter. If you just relax, traffic ultimately moves. I test drove that Nissan Leaf. I don't know what I'd do without my iPhone. Sweet. Kenny, LOL, baby. LOL. OMG. Oh, cool. Is that the 4S? You have Siri? It's not the destination. It's the journey. I like that. That's a nice look. Just Facebook it to me. Snap. Get serious, dog. Dog. John, go ahead, dog. Hey, dog. Sup? Sup, dog? What's up? What's up, dog? What's up, bro? My brother. Cute with your little outfit on. I love it. I just think it's so cute. That is so cute. Did you get that in Uptown? Oh, that is so cute. I did an hour on the Stairmaster last night. My glutes are killing me. The earth is your mother. Kesha is totally blowing up on Twitter. I'll have to work it out at yoga tonight. You know, there are just no losers. There's just some non-winners. Was that a math question? No, I gotta go, man. I'm late for yoga. Go ask Rookie. I saw the most amazing shooting star last night. It was like totally awesome. I find myself agreeing more and more with Nancy Pelosi. We can save the planet one light bulb at a time. What a smooshy mooshy dog. I'm gonna get a chicken, for the eggs. Why read the book if you can just see the movie? No. There's no need to shovel. It's only been 5-6 inches of snow. Let's run away together. Did you get a haircut? Do you know how to change a flat tire? Hail you. Hail me. Howdy. 5,000.
Word.
I will. I'll
The
put that on
accompanying video,
socials.
though, is what really makes it good.
Well, and you look through the video, half the people basically don't work here anymore. But that's
Right,
Yeah, it's all Joe talking to different people, right?
around the building.
And
Who
half
wrote
of-
that for you? Did you write that?
Probably. I don't remember. Yeah, they just said start speaking like a euphorian.
He's leaning on cubicles up there.
But he, in the entire video, he is wearing the Feelin' Golfy hat.
Yeah.
You know, the old Feelin' Golfy hat
But-
that he had?
You're right, Matthew. He's invading their space.
yeah, he's
Yes.
bothering them.
Yeah.
He's doing everything he would hate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to see my dog?
And somebody had a dog.
It was Katie Ruminsky.
That was Katie Ruminsky.
Yeah.
Well, she's allowed to.
Yeah, she can have it.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's fine. That was a great. In fact, that was a hell of
It
a
was a
dog.
nice dog. That outfit the
It was
dog
one of the
had on,
nicest
beautiful.
dogs I've ever seen. Smooshy, mooshy dog.
I know.
Yeah.
Test drove that Nissan Leaf. That thing was sweet. Do they even still make that vehicle?
Yes, I think so. Although
Just tends to
Nissan
blow away in windstorms.
is in huge financial trouble. We
Really?
could be losing Nissan.
Why haven't they kept up?
I don't know, Matt. But
I've never owned a Nissan.
after John, I got a little something on that.
Okay.
On cars and things of that nature. Why don't we take a time out?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah. Good.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
Johnny Height.
Here's John Height.
Hey, thanks, dog.
Dog.
But when you pan to the video part, Joe, where he's still in the studio and he's got the mic in front of him like he's doing the show. John, go ahead, dog.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Joe had brought on a caller on the air and said that?
This news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. New
Hold
York.
on, John. Go ahead, finish the billboard. I'm sorry.
North American Banking Company bringing us this news.
Have you ever, Joe, when somebody presents the fist bump,
Yeah.
do you respond in kind? Do you bump?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a better question.
Because you strike me as a lot like me when, like, say, our sales guy, Rob, he likes to do that.
Yeah.
I reject him every
I
single
would
time.
reject him.
Always reject Rob.
What is the most gracious way Joe has brought a caller onto the air in all the years you guys worked together?
Caller, you're on the air.
Let's go here.
Well, you're on.
Stop calling and asking.
That was
Remember Mickey
Patrick.
Rooney?
Yeah.
How he wouldn't shake hands. He shook your
Yeah.
forearm.
Well, Mickey was ahead of the curve.
Yeah, he was.
A big star. I was a big star.
Yeah, he didn't want to get germs.
Should have heard him in the production room. Give me that pen.
Yeah.
Right. He was doing Garage Logic promos, and he was just a foul mouth. He wasn't mean. He was just a foul mouth.
He was
person.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
In news, New York prosecutors filed a murder charge against the suspect in the United Healthcare CEO killing. Officials at an Altoona, Pennsylvania news conference last night confirmed 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is a suspect in the Midtown Manhattan killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione was ordered to be held without bail after a brief court appearance in Pennsylvania last night. NYPD previously said they were holding a man for questioning in Altoona. Mangione was stopped in Pennsylvania with a fake ID. Altoona police recovered a fake New Jersey driver's license, a computer, and a gun. He had reportedly walked into a McDonald's where someone recognized him from the pictures police had put out. One of his fake IDs matched the one he gave the hostel in New York. Court papers, say Mangione began shaking when police asked if he had been in New York recently. Local law enforcement reportedly told NYPD Mangione looked like the shooting suspect. He is currently charged with weapons, forgery, and other charges in Pennsylvania. All of this came on the 6th day of the search for the suspect, which had also extended all the way into Georgia. As that search continued, United Healthcare increased security measures at its home base in Minnetonka as fences went up to barricade part of the building and the parking garage this past weekend. Mangione's family did release a statement. They said, quote, "Unfortunately, we cannot comment on news reports regarding Luigi Mangione. We only know that we have read in what we have read in the media. Our family is shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest. We offer our prayers to the family of Brian Thompson, and we ask people to pray for all involved. We are devastated by this news," end quote.
There's so many weird angles on this. The Brian Thompson family has to be wondering, why Brian? This guy, to fulfill this fantasy of his, could have shot any executive having to do with health care. And if he had shot some low-level person in the industry,
Wouldn't have got that.
it wouldn't even have been a story.
Right.
I think they did say part of his 3-page manifesto did mention United Healthcare. I don't know
Okay.
if he had business with them.
Yeah.
He had the back surgery where they put the nails in his back.
Right.
I don't know if that was all part of UHC or how that played out.
What does it take to qualify writing as a manifesto?
Yeah.
What exactly is
How many
involved
pages?
there? Joe, you're a writer.
I don't think it has anything to do with length. I think any document caught on the person of a suspect would be called a manifesto.
So that nonsense you do every Sunday in the St. Paul paper, that's not
It's
a
not
manifesto?
it's not a manifesto.
Okay. All right. You get paid for that?
No.
I didn't think so.
They're kind of short sometimes, Joe. I want them a little longer.
Yeah, put a little effort into it.
Well, it's because we keep them here past 1:30.
Oh, that's what it is on Thursdays, yeah. Tuesday, today, is the last chance for folks to weigh in on a potential increase of property taxes in Minneapolis before the city council votes on the matter. And there are still lots of questions over what will get funding in the budget process and what won't. Well, councilors have already debated budget cuts. One of the main items being considered was a cut to the budget of the police department, but that luckily was rejected. Among the funding, Mayor Jacob Fry plans to set aside more than $1 million to hire more officers as staffing levels still aren't up to par. Fry has also agreed to a package that would reduce the overall property tax hike from 8.3% to 6.4%. if the council cut some of the 73 proposed budget amendments. The Budget Committee debated a number of items in the budget last night. At times it got heated. Community members will be able to voice their opinions tonight at 6 o'clock.
Minneapolis residents, you're doomed. At the very least, you should be made aware of what these 77 amendments to the budget is. These socialists want to spend your money on their projects. And those projects have nothing to do with you. Nothing.
I love the idea of weighing in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is Gary. Yeah. I'm over there on Calhoun, and I don't think you guys are charging us enough.
Happy to pay more for a better South Minneapolis.
And also the fact that they think, well, we were going to raise it 8.3%, but now we're only going 6.4%. Like, that's a good thing.
We're giving you a bargain.
Yeah, we're giving you a break.
Don't you think the normal Democrats and the socialist Democrats, this is something they could come together on? They could all agree on this, raising your taxes.
The regular Democrats wouldn't have nearly as many pet projects they want to accomplish.
Oh, that's a bold statement.
Well, I'm a bold guy.
John, do you have the other law enforcement story that was in the State and Region version of the paper today?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
I was shocked. Minneapolis hosts Federal Law Enforcement Summit.
That was my next story.
Lay it on me, baby.
In a visit to Minneapolis yesterday, federal law enforcement and government officials expected to end the year, they said, with a significant decrease in violent crime in more than 150 major cities. Hundreds of law enforcement officers, leaders, and other local, state, and federal government partners came together to mark 10 years of a nationwide partnership with the Department of Justice to bolster resources to solve and reduce violent crime in cities where it's prevalent.
I'm sorry.
So it's okay, Joe.
What page you on?
No, I have a point to make about John's story. Continue, John.
The Minneapolis Police Department was awarded a spot in the National Public Safety Partnership in 2023 and was in the spotlight for this year's summit. Mayor Jacob Fry began with remarks saying, "We are beyond honored to have this here in our city." Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said the men and women who toughed it out over these dark few years are heroes. According to O'Hara, violent crime is down overall in 2024, including shootings, especially on the north side. Local and federal officials alike, including U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota, Andrew Luger, largely crediting the recent partnership for historic racketeering charges brought against more than 100 alleged gang members in Minneapolis since spring of 2023. Statewide, Luger said federal partners also helped trace guns that were allegedly used to convict a felon in a Burnsville mass shooting that killed 2 police officers and a firefighter paramedic. On the flip side, homicides are up in Minneapolis, O'Hara said in 2024. With weeks left in the year, he said there have been 73 homicides versus 72 at year-end last year. There have been 10 people murdered, he said, this year at a homeless encampment or immediately around one. He said it's been a challenging year across the board. Looking to the year ahead, some uncertainty swirled in the room as several federal officials speaking at the summit, including Luger, will likely soon be replaced under the incoming president's administration. The chief and mayor surprised Luger with an award for his service during the opening ceremony.
Here's what's become of this so-called Minnesota Tribune or Star Tribune. Minneapolis hosts Federal Law Enforcement Summit, page A5. I guarantee you, if the furry convention was in Minneapolis, that'd be on the front page.
I would not take that back.
No, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. 650 of the nation's top federal law enforcement officials are in town. This is page A5. This newspaper is a joke. If the furries were in town, it would be all over the front page with photographs.
Above the fold.
With photographs.
Yeah.
A story I meant to get to yesterday, an update. I did not get to it. The ruby slippers.
Oh, yeah.
That won't ever go away.
Sold at a winning auction for $28 million on Saturday.
Wow. I guess that.
You know, it makes that banana taped to a wall look like a bargain at $6.5 million. You know.
Heritage Auctions had estimated they might bring in $3 million. but the fast-paced bidding far outpaced that amount within seconds and tripled it within minutes. A few bidders making offers by phone volleyed back and forth for 15 minutes as the price climbed to the final sum. Including the Dallas-based auction house's fee, the unknown buyer will have to pay $32.5 million. Online bidding, which opened last month, had stood at $1.55 million before live bidding began late Saturday afternoon. The Red Heels were on display at the Judy Garland Museum in her hometown of Grand Rapids in 2005 when Terry John Martin used a hammer to smash the glass of the museum's door and display case. We had this story before. Their whereabouts remained a mystery until the FBI recovered them in 2018. The 77-year-old Martin, who lives near Grand Rapids, wasn't publicly exposed as the thief till he was indicted in May of 2023. He pleaded guilty in October. Very sad. You may recall he was in a wheelchair and on supplementary oxygen when he was sentenced last January. His attorney explained ahead of sentencing that Martin had a long history of burglary and thought he was going to pull off one last big score.
These are cardboard shoes sprinkled with dime store sequins. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding
All
me?
for the low price at $28 million.
Honest to
But
God.
we kind of made fun of him and kind of treated him like he was a buffoon.
Well, he was.
Well, he was obviously right. Look at how much they got.
I can't believe it. They're cardboard. They'd fall
stunning.
apart in the rain.
Kenny, that's a good point. I might have to flip on this.
Yeah, he was brilliant. A criminal mastermind, Matthew.
The only missing piece was he couldn't figure out how to get them to auction because they were buried in his backyard, wrapped in a shopping bag.
Marketing was a problem.
He had a marketing problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even fencing a pair of ruby slippers might be tough. Even with
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, where do you go to sell those?
Plus, I want to know how thoroughly were they vetted, because apparently during the filming there were two pair of shoes.
Four pair. They said
pair.
in the story last week.
Yeah.
Do you bring them out to those criminals with the pawn shop in Vegas?
Yeah, I got to call in my guy.
Rick.
Yeah,
See what he
sorry, I
thinks
can
of
give you
that.
$100
Hey,
there,
Chumley,
pal.
give me
That
those
guy
back.
comes in, he says, Rick, these are made out of cardboard and these are fake sequins on here. And Rick says, I'm sorry, I can give you $25.
Right. That's as high as I can go.
As high as I can go.
Why don't we take a quick break here and hear from Mr. Reavers?
Why don't we, John? I want to thank all of the GLers for the emails, and Masters Maples has been a rousing success here. Look at that photo, by the way, gentlemen. Look at that
Yeah, look
photo
at
of
that.
Masters
Nice.
Maples, based in Cohasset, Minnesota. It's about 3 hours north of the Twin Cities. The owner, Ben, a proud GLer whose personal passion for maple syrup led him to creating Masters Maples 12 years ago. From tap to table, Masters Maples brings you 100% pure maple syrup. It's a gluten-free, natural sweetener that can be used in cooking, grilling, and glazing. It also can be turned into pure maple sugar. Masters Maple's full line of maple syrups brings a unique flavor to meals, but also many health benefits that commonly used refined sugars do not. Simply put, Masters Maples offers the best 100% pure maple syrup that Minnesota has to offer, and many other maple syrup products, just like bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup, maple sugar, sweet and savory seasonings and rubs. You can order your bottle of Masters Maple Syrup today and taste the difference. And just in time for the holiday season, give your family, friends, or coworkers the gift of Masters Maples by ordering one of 4 holiday gift packs available right now at mastersmaples.com. That's mastersmaples.com. Masters Maples. Taste the difference.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
Oh, here we go. Johnny Height.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I was reading a story. I pay
Jesus.
attention, shouldn't I?
I think
Is-
so.
In
You guys done this before, right? You guys have done
I think so.
Apparently we haven't.
Yeah. In national and
2
international
billion.
stories,
Oh, wait, I'm supposed to wait on that.
Israeli warplanes. You be ready when I get there, okay?
All right.
Israeli warplanes pounded military sites in Syria after Israeli troops seized a border buffer zone following the collapse of President Bashar Assad's rule. Israel denied its forces were advancing toward the Syrian capital of Damascus. Israeli troops on Sunday entered the buffer zone that had been established after the 1973 Mideast War. The military said it would deploy in several other places necessary to defend Israel. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu testified in his long-running corruption trial, the testimony another low point for Israel's longest-serving leader. He also at the moment faces an international arrest warrant for alleged war crimes in Israel's war in Gaza. A ferocious wildfire fanned by strong winds spread rapidly early today in Malibu in California, spurring evacuations along the coast and threatening homes while firefighters struggle to contain the flames. The eastern half of Malibu was ordered evacuated, and the rest of the city was under an evacuation warning. Some 6,000 people live in that area under evacuation orders, according to firefighters. Most of the city's population of about 11,000 people. More than 2,000 structures are affected by the order. It's being called the Franklin Fire. It was moving at a fierce pace, fanned by strong Santa Ana winds, and had exploded to more than 2,200 acres as of 7 this morning with no containment, according to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection.
2,200 acres is about 200 acres smaller than White Bear Lake.
Huh.
If I was there, you know what I'd do? I'd just head down to the beach and just wait it out.
You don't have to.
You gotta go
Stay
water
away
there.
from the fire.
They got water there.
Grab a bucket. Toss it up there.
Yeah.
In other news, I'm going to do this story now just because for the last 21 months, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour has been the biggest thing in music, a phenomenon that has engulfed pop culture. I keep trying to say 2 words at once today. I don't know why. Anyway, dominated news coverage and boosted local economies around the world. Now we know exactly how big it was. Through its 149th and final show, which took place in Vancouver, British Columbia, Sunday, Swift's tour sold a total
Can I try it?
of...
Can I try it? Because I have no confidence here.
Sure.
So don't mock me if I get it wrong. $2,077,618,725.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Got it. Got it.
Well,
Yeah, so
Wow.
$2 billion and change in tickets for the tour, doubled the gross ticket sales of any other concert tour in history, and an extraordinary new benchmark for an international concert business. Those figures confirmed to the New York Times for the first time by Taylor Swift Touring, the singer's production company. While the financial details of the Eras Tour have been subject to constant industry speculation since tickets were first offered more than 2 years ago, Swift has never authorized disclosure of the tour's numbers until now.
well, 2 things. One, she gave her staff $197 million.
Amazing.
I suppose that means road crew, band, whatever, dancers. Yeah, okay. I don't know how many of those are. And secondly, which was very kind of her. Secondly, there's nobody alive that could do this. I've been racking my brain. Who could do this?
There's only one record she didn't break, and I want to get to that in a second, but 10,168,000 and change saw her play on this tour. This is unprecedented. We, as a group of 5, have never, ever seen anything like this in our lifetime. The only record that I know of that she didn't break was that, didn't Metallica play for, what was it in Russia, John?
Quite
million?
a few people in Russia.
Was it a mill?
Not sure. I don't know.
But what group could do this today? There isn't one.
There isn't one.
There
The
isn't one.
second place is Coldplay with 1 billion for its 156th date. I don't know when that was.
God, I wouldn't have walked across the street to see them.
They're not worth a dry popcorn
No,
fart to
no.
me. Each seat, and this is going to hurt you personally, Joe, On average, each seat on Tay-Tay's tour went for only $204.
Ooh.
Yeah,
If
sorry.
the Beatles were all alive,
Yeah.
could they do this?
Yeah,
Yes, if they were
Yes.
all alive.
absolutely. And I had the same analogy myself.
If Tupac was still alive.
No.
Okay.
No.
Nobody else. Will we ever see this again from a different artist?
I can't imagine.
If Madonna was still alive.
No.
Oh, wait, she is still. Whoops.
Can you imagine living under that kind of spotlight? This poor chick, she never goes anywhere alone.
Well, it's made me not like the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just tired of them. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So do you not like her?
No, I don't mind her at all. I thought she's fine. I don't think she's much of a singer, to tell you the truth.
Well, I think that's why I don't know really in her music at all,
Well,
but I see her on Facebook, the Reels thing, so I see, 3 seconds of her.
It's 75%. It's theatrical production.
I mean,
is
it
what
was
is.
a
It is.
wonderful.
It's show business.
Yeah.
The kids who went just had a ball. It was wonderful.
But where do you go for privacy? How do you live like that?
You know what? I'm not worried about it. That's her problem.
It's something that fascinates me. Is life like that? What it must be like?
Are you kind of saying, like, where do we go from here?
Oh, he's
all
not
of
saying that. He's not saying that.
In Brazil, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is awake and conscious after undergoing an emergency brain surgery that adds to the delicate political moment he faces in Brazil. Lula will stay in the intensive care unit of a Sao Paulo hospital for 48 hours as a precaution. He should be able to return to Brasilia early next week, according to Dr. Roberto Khalil. The 79-year-old president felt headaches Monday. The brain scan showed an intracranial hemorrhage resulting from an accident he had suffered at home in October. He was immediately flown to Sao Paulo for the surgery, which went on without complications, according to his medical team. Vice President Geraldo Alckmin, who was supposed to attend an event in the state of Sao Paulo, returned to Brasilia to host Slovakia's Prime Minister, Robert Fico. Lula's health has been the subject of speculation since he suffered the fall in October. At that time, his doctor said the president had recovered and at no point had lost consciousness or had become disoriented. Weird idea from Germany. A property developer there has sparked outrage. He has a plan to turn a World War II tunnel system into a luxury bunker for rich survivalists who fear the outbreak of World War III. Relatives of the prison laborers who built it under the Nazis are aghast at the business venture that is offering a cryptocurrency called bunker coin as entry tokens to the promised apocalypse shelter. Others suspect an elaborate ploy to embarrass German authorities and raise the price for the sensitive historical property's eventual resale to the state. The tunnel site was constructed by prisoners held in an annex to the Buchenwald concentration camp in a forest about 120 miles southwest of Berlin near the town of Halberstadt. About 7,000 forced laborers were interned at the camp, more than half of whom died digging the 13-kilometer-long tunnel system where the Nazis manufactured aircraft in the latter phase of World War II.
So, John, you said that bunker coin is going to be is this another crypto deal? Is that
apparently yes?
So, are you and Patrick going to take your fiat earnings?
Yeah, are you going to
Maybe
transfer
invest
those?
that into bunker coin?
Yeah, because what I want to do in the event of having to survive is get into a hole in Germany. That's I would look
With a
forward
bunch
to
of
that.
krauts.
Right.
Right.
Wash your hands.
Nine.
Make room
Iron
for
your
you.
pants.
Oh God.
Who's playing that awful German industrial music?
Were the tunnels in Berlin, John?
Yes, right.
I was
outside
in
of
those
Berlin, right?
tunnels.
Really?
Yeah. Seriously.
Is there a lot to learn about Berlin?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Now, so you went in a tunnel to go under the wall? Why didn't you just drive out of the city? And
Let
go
me,
just
no,
go
let me
around
ask
the
you.
wall.
around
Let
it,
me ask you something. When you went through into the tunnel, did you have to tap the bunk twice in the housing, and,
And the
it
bed
opened,
came up?
It opened up, and you went downstairs.
I don't think he's ever seen an episode of Hogan's Heroes.
Just checking.
The secret knock.
Yes.
Those were big tunnels.
Really?
They were you at Buchenwald, Joe? Did you visit?
I
Not
believe I
visit, but
did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you probably Those are the tunnels. Them are it, as they say. Apparently, because all these serious issues involving our court system have been resolved, the Ohio Supreme Court has voted 4-3 against reconsidering its decision on whether consumers can assume that their boneless chicken wings might contain bones. Writing for the majority, Justice Patrick Fisher said the request for reconsideration did not identify new points to be addressed. The case sadly drew international headlines, became the butt of late-night comedy show jokes. Fisher, though, cautioned the court against caving to public clamor or media criticism. Justices Michael Donnelly and Melody Stewart, two Democrats who lost their re-election bids in November, dissented and took shots at their Republican colleagues. Donnelly said the Republicans orchestrated the desired outcome by usurping the jury's traditional role, and they think anyone who disagrees with them is unreasonable. He warned that results-oriented jurists could contort words on abortion rights cases, which are likely to reach the Supreme Court. But Democrats on the court called that reasoning absurd. They contended that a jury, not appeals court justices, should decide whether customers should expect to find bones in boneless wings. If you're wondering, the center of all this case is Michael Berkheimer. He swallowed a 1.3-inch chicken bone in boneless wings, tore his esophagus, and has never been the same again. In April 2016,
who would be?
2016, Berkheimer ordered boneless wings with Parmesan garlic sauce at Wings in Brookwood and Hamilton. In a third piece, he felt something go down the wrong pipe, in his words. He unsuccessfully tried clearing his throat, and later that night started to run a fever. The next day, a doctor removed the chicken bone, but Berkheimer ended up with an infection and had to endure 2 more surgeries.
You know, clucks.
Clucks?
He clucks.
Oh,
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Say, EcoFun Motorsports.
Yes, sir.
That's your go-to shopping center for Christmas for outdoor equipment, especially the big sale on Yamaha bikes while they're left, the Yamaha electric bikes, because EcoFun is the electric bike capital of Minnesota, if not the entire United States. You can't miss it. It's on Highway 97, just west of 35 in Forest Lake / Columbus, also down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life, near County Road 42. But EcoFun, the youth recreational equipment, the winter equipment, great motorcycles, scooters, gas-powered scooters, 4x4s, you name it, helmets, apparel, and a great service department. Right now, though, while those Yamaha bikes last, they're dwindling. They're dwindling because Yamaha wants to get in the new ones. They're just have really cut the prices on them dramatically, and they're a great. They've got a lot of models, too. They're great electric bikes. Get to EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake, Highway 97, just west of 35, Burnsville, on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42, and a great website at ecofunmotorsports.com. need one of these deals, don't we? That's right.
Truth, justice, and the Souchere.
There are dogs that have survived living in Chernobyl or near the Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
Okay.
Chernobyl is in the Ukraine. Did you know that?
I guess I never really thought about it.
Yeah. Well, and these dogs have developed superpowers because of
Do they wear capes and goggles and?
Well, they might as well.
masks?
They're immune to radiation. They're immune to heavy metals, and they're immune to pollution. They're mutants. So are the wolves. Scientists have collected blood samples from 116 stray dogs living in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. We call that CEZ. C-E-Z.
What I says.
Yeah. They find two different populations that were both genetically distinct from other dogs in the area. And they've adapted to withstand long-term exposure to a toxic environment, and that explains why they have continued to thrive in what has become a wasteland. They look like regular dogs.
They don't have like 6 paws or
No, but
or
they're
anything?
superpower. They have superpowers.
Okay.
And they want to understand how the dogs develop this genetic superpower, because that'll better understand the health impacts of living in such environments. That was in 1986 when Chernobyl went up.
It's 40 years.
That's in northern Ukraine. It was a nuclear meltdown. And following the event, everyone, of course, that was still alive was evacuated. But, they left the dogs behind.
Right. You're not going to take everything. Animals. We're worried about the people with 3 eyes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Their absence allowed wildlife to flourish and thrive in the CEZ. You know what the CEZ is?
That's the ring.
Chernobyl exclusion zone. Because that contains 11.28 millirem of radiation, 6 times the allowed exposure for humans. See? But the dogs, what do they know? They didn't know. They just developed this stuff. They don't know. The scientists are studying how. How did they race through generations genetically to get to the point where they can now withstand these toxicities?
They were just looking for their next meal.
That's right, Matt. But now they've done it, and it's in the latest issue of Canine Medicine and Genetics.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Actually, that was published in March of 2023.
Don't you have a problem, though, with the name? Super Power or Super Dogs?
No, they're not. They could prove to not even be failed superheroes. They could maybe save kids and
they're not they're mutants.
They're mutants. They're mutants, Ken.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're badass.
Yeah. Well, they developed genetic mutations that were passed down from generation to generation, ultimately driving their adaptation to the harsh conditions. And they found that other animals have done the same thing.
Frogs.
Wolves and frogs. And
Yep.
a lot of mutant stuff there, You like the word mutant?
I love the word. I want to be the official mutant of Garage Logic.
Well, you've
Well,
gone
on
a
your
long
way.
way to that destiny.
It's been a tough road, but I think I'm there.
So, in fact, so many animals are making it that they think it's time that humans could probably live back there again. I don't know why. Why
1,000
not?
people have moved back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember the Top Gear guys had an episode where they drove through Chernobyl.
That's not where they are right now. I'm watching them. They're driving through the Alps in supercars.
Right now, huh?
Right now he's watching this.
Right now.
Just a hell of a devoted guy you got there from our chief mutant.
But how long does all that nuclear stuff last? 40 years, isn't that enough to
Matt, quite a
wash
while. They last quite
I
a
concur,
while.
Matthew. Quite a while.
Okay.
I think Joe just gave you a noted.
Thank you for that precise count.
I want to plug something.
Yeah.
No, I do.
The store?
I heard about it. Well, the store, too.
That is why Trump got elected.
GarageLogic.com. You go there and you can get your GL gear in time for the holiday season, because 'tis the season to go to the Gumption County Gift Shop, where you can get your #1 Anguilla shirt, your Boatworks Classic GL Failed Academy shirts, The GL hat that Kenny rocks from time to time, the Spoon Lake shirt, the Ricey Souchere shirt, and the Knack Hardware Lounge shirt. It's all there for you. Just go check it out right now. GarageLogic.com. You can't miss it. The Gumption County Gift Shop.
I saw this on the news, and then Sanibel Jim reminded me of it. There's a great charity called Wreaths Across America, where you can just get a wreath to honor veterans. And the National Wreaths Across America Day will be held Saturday, December 14th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's this coming Saturday.
Do you mean wreaths that could be laid at Fort Snelling or Arlington or for alive to hang on, Uncle Bob's door?
No. Sponsor a veteran's wreath in honor of or in memory of a loved one who served in our armed forces, or sponsor and allow us to designate a recipient among the millions of heroes who rest in honor and glory. I think these are to decorate the tombstones.
Okay, the gravesites.
Right. And it's a great deal. How do you do it? Let me tell you how to do it here.
Well, nothing is, I will say, as you search, nothing is neater than driving by the cemetery and having all those wreaths laid out on those tombstones.
Well, how the hell do you do this? What's this say? Click below.
Yep. Orja.
Click below for Wreaths Across America's activities.
Turns out this is from 3 years ago. Oopsie.
No, here, just go to Wreaths Across America. I'm sure that'll give you all the info you need to know.
How about
and I'm being very serious.
Here, how about you hand me that? I'll include it as the link.
There's a click. You got to click on something, but I'm not on the.
Pretty smooth.
On the deal.
Pretty smooth.
Wreaths Across America.
That's what
because
you're trying to say.
I agree with Matthew that you want to see those wreaths.
Yeah, agreed.
At Snelling.
How do I see them? Do I have to click there?
Yeah.
Huh?
Only because they come to us all the way from Cleveland, Ohio.
I love that.
The traveling Lymans.
Are they going to be home in time for the holiday season?
Boy, I hope so. I hope things are going well. It was on this day.
Joe, today is already December 10th.
Well, Chris, on this day in 1878, the Northwestern Telephone Exchange Company of Minneapolis was organized with 53 subscribers.
Wow.
The exchange began operating in February 1879, and a line was strung to St. Paul in April 1879.
Okay.
In the book I'm just about to finish called This is Happiness, which I can't recommend highly enough, it's by Niall Williams, Niall, Niall Williams, in Faha, a little village in Ireland in 1958.
Okay.
They're about to get electricity for the first time.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned
But there's one house that has a phone, and people line up there like on Easter Sunday. I said people line up there on Easter Sunday, and they want to call relatives somewhere else, and they have to leave some money.
Is that a party line? Is that what that was called?
I guess so. I don't know. It's pretty good. There's a guy in Faha with such a bad fireplace.
How bad is it?
It's so bad that the smoke either comes out his windows or his front door, depending on the weather.
He needs to bring the chimney to someone.
On this day,
1210.
in 1930, Sauk Center Sinclair Lewis, I remember this from last year on this day, received the Nobel Prize in Literature, the first American so honored. His popular titles included Main Street, Aerosmith, Elmer Gantry, and Babbitt.
Babbitt?
Yeah. I'm not a big Sinclair Lewis fan.
Elmer Gantry was drunk.
Yeah. Is that the first line?
Opening line.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of Charles Babbitt.
I don't know who that is.
Charlie Babbitt.
That's Raymond's brother.
Charlie Babbitt.
Geez.
Oh, you would have loved him. He had this collection of international vehicles that he collector.
Sold supercars, but was Charlie the one with autism?
No,
that was Raymond.
Well, Ray's dad had a Buick that was he was allowed to drive it around the driveway.
Wasn't that a Roadmaster?
It was a Roadmaster.
On the driveway.
1954, maybe.
Squeezed pulled and hurt my neck in 1988.
Wasn't the sad character in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest Billy Babbitt? The
Might have
stutter?
been.
I think you're right.
That was his cousin, his dad's brother.
He had a bad end,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Of course, Who Framed Roger?
Right.
That's Rabbit.
Roger Babbitt.
Jeez.
And finally, on this day,
Been hanging around with Matthew too long.
Yep, definitely.
how much do you think let me ask you something. How much do you think I'm going to put up with that?
2 more years
Well,
at least.
Apparently, forever.
Keep showing up.
We've been showing you the door for years. But
Contractually obligated for 2 more years.
Finally, on this day,
pushing that wheelbarrow, he is.
I might as well be Sisyphus, pushing the rock up the hill.
Yeah.
And
Get
then
behind
having
the
it
mule and plow.
Roll back down on top of me when I hear you.
Did you invent the wheel?
No. Finally, on this, I'd actually answer that question.
Thank you.
You did. Yeah.
Mark me down for that one, please. Thanks.
Finally, on this day, in 1966, James Arness. What was he famous for?
Matt Dillon.
That's right.
Gun schmuck.
A Minneapolis native famous for his role as Marshal Matt Dillon in the Western series Gunsmoke. Boy, this is amazing that this made this day in history.
Yeah.
Appeared on the cover of TV Guide.
That is nothing.
That's
Very important.
That made this. No, I'll give you the Telephone Exchange Company, right?
Will you give us Charlie Babbitt?
I'll even give you Sauk Center.
Yeah.
Oh, with Sinclair Lewis. I'm not giving you a guy who got his mug on the cover of TV Guide.
That show broke new ground because it was the first time that Friends with Benefits was openly portrayed when his best friend was a whore.
Kitty?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kitty was just a barmaid, Kitty. I think she's
Well,
going to sue you.
Euphemistically, she was a barmaid.
Euphemistically.
You let him has his fantasy, you have yours.
I thought that guy was Chester.
That wasn't an insult.
Chester had the
Believe
wooden
me.
leg. Remember that?
Yeah.
I thought Kitty was going for Chester.
Chester was,
Was it
Dennis
just a-
Weaver.
Dennis
right?
Weaver.
Was it
yeah.
just
Dennis
a
Weaver,
stump, too? Not a.
It wasn't a
good
very.
prosthetic?
It was roughly
It
produced.
wasn't advanced? Okay.
No.
And then there was Gomer Pyle showing up, and he was the town drunk. He would let himself into the cell.
No, that's Andy
That was
and
fine.
Mayberry.
Wrong show. Come
Yeah,
on.
wrong show.
Oh, Fanzia,
I,
Mrs. C, upstairs.
I
canning
should have
apricots.
been keeping track of all the this day in histories that I would flunk, and I'd bring this one up. You don't get on here for getting your picture on the cover of TV Guide. Although in 1966, I suppose TV Guide was a much bigger deal. I don't even know if it still exists.
TV Guide?
Yeah,
I believe
you'd-
it's only
I don't-
online.
Yeah.
You'd look at it and you could tell it was
Right.
on TV.
What's coming up on
Well,
the ride.
because everyone has a TV guide.
Yeah. Now you can press it on your remote.
Right, it's easy now.
Yeah.
TV Guide was huge, though, when we were kids, Joe. I can remember it sitting around the house, and you had to have it. What's on Channel 5 tonight?
We got the one in the Star Tribune, found that much easier.
Yeah, we got ours out of the newspaper.
Yep. Once a week.
Oh, looking at the cover, it's a very nice rendition of Mr. Arness.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't
It's
have
a-
made this
it's a
day in
drawing.
history.
Was the hooker on with him?
No,
She was not a hooker, Kenny. She was a very charitable, community-oriented
Believe me, I loved her.
barkeep. Barkeep.
Car beep?
Her name was Kitty. What was her last name in the show, I wonder? Do we ever know?
I don't recall that.
Those
lot
guys,
of?
it don't freeze. Don't ever tell them you're doing this, then they won't leave that bad picture.
No,
that
that was a fantastic picture that we saw from Kenny signing off yesterday. And that's because we saw it on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Yeah, Garage Logic has a YouTube channel. It's there for you, and you can see the show each and every single day, starting right at noon. We also have all sorts of videos for you, which includes full segments, some video shorts, behind the scenes footage in some cases. All you got to do, just hit that subscribe button right there on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. You can also follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Some people call it X, but that's for you to decide. And what am I missing? Oh yeah, the Daily Logician. It's an email. Comes right to your inbox each and every single day. It includes the most recent up-to-date episode of the podcast. It also includes a weekly note directly from the mayor himself.
Miss Kitty Russell.
Kitty Russell.